Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report here at the Basement Collective Basement. That's right, I'm here with Davis, and I'm wearing my Team Scotland shirt from Blackie himself. That's right, I got it in the mail, and I'm using my Yas dice today, the Scottish super dice.
What does yes?
I'm
guessing yes.
It's for a 6.
Oh, that's the perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great. I love it. And so we're gonna have a 2,000-point game. I'm playing my Drukhari army with Coven and Taylor stuff, and you're playing.
I'm playing my Chaos Bash Brothers list today.
Bash Bros.
Yes,
Bash
sir.
Bros that came in really close, winning Nova. It was
Yes,
so
very close. Second, I believe, right?
I know, but he had a lot of Zangors.
Yes.
Not
And,
Zangors? Zangors.
Zangors.
Zangors?
Zangors.
Oh,
I always
no.
pronounce
Zangors.
it
Zangors.
Zangors.
I thought the gores was.
I think
part
it
of
was like a gore,
kind of like a
like
ram, right?
what's
Like,
left
they
after you're
gore
done
you.
with them.
Yeah.
It's all gory.
Absolutely. That's what a ram. Oh, that's what a goat does, right? Or a ram where they gore you.
They gore,
Yeah.
and that's
with the horns.
and then you kill them, and all that's left is
That's right.
gore.
Well, I mean, they're toughness 3.
That is true. So we're gonna take a look at the armies. We're gonna take a look at the battle. There's a really cool new terrain set we're using, which is really neat. And yeah, you excited?
I'm very
Do you
excited.
have a plan?
I had a plan.
You have a plan.
I had a plan.
Now you brought a list that you wanted to play
Yes.
against me at an event.
That's right. So at the TBMC ITC GT.
Right, absolutely.
Rename the basement.
Renamed.
Renamed the Basement Open.
Yes,
Okay.
I ended up getting third at
that
the
was
event.
close.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to have our match then.
I
And
know.
it didn't happen because the guy that you fought in the finals, he defeated me. I mean,
Devin.
unsurprisingly, Devin it was with his Dark Eldar.
Devin? No, Devin played Yanari.
Oh, no, then.
No,
yeah,
no.
Devin played Yanari.
Right.
That's right.
So you're
Sorry.
talking Brady or Devin?
No, it was Devin.
Devin.
Devin's Yanari.
Yeah, Devin.
Which, again, he was a fantastic player. He was a great opponent. And then I saw the two of you go at it, and it was an amazing match between the two of you.
Oh, that's right. What happened that time?
Yeah. Nothing. Everything was totally status quo.
Great
Yeah.
story. Davis walks over and tips my whole army on the ground. Luckily, there was like nothing broken, which was incredible.
Incredible.
And my Tantalus was not on the stuff that got like on the
So
floor.
I believe that I am, as we were saying, I have a restraining order.
That's
on
right.
The Dark
10
Eldar.
feet from my army. Other than that, enjoy the show, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let's begin.
The Dark Kid.
Here we have the battlefield. Very full of stuff that you can hide behind. Yes, that's the best way to play 40k. Lots of line of sight blocking terrain. We are playing ITC mission number 1 to recreate Davis's fantasy. Of a
You say it that
recreational
way, your
match.
wife might not be happy.
Yeah, the Ring of Power. So, Mission 1, ITC. This terrain was made by Cam Ricky from Daka, and he sent it to the Basement Collective. So we are playing it. It's all really modular and cool. The link will be down below in the description. But check it out. They move up and stuff. Like, these were, stacked like these high, and you can, custom make them. It's pretty cool. Have, a big line-of-sight blocker or a bunch of little ones. There's something afoot here. Lots of dead guys with, I think, Chaos might have been involved. There's some sort of plagued Lehman Russ over here, and he doesn't look very happy at all.
My kind of table.
Yeah. I feel like Chaos has been here for a bit since this tub has an eye. Okay, so we're gonna go over deployment and stuff, and we shall return after deployment. Okay, and here we have 2,000 points of Chaos and Demons and Nurgle and Thousand Suns. Essentially, Smash Brothers! Chaos Soup, right? So, Davis, take us through your general army composition, then we'll kind of show off the cards.
Alrighty, so pretty much the idea was to make a fun list, make a strong list with Mortarion with the 2 Primarchs in it.
Yeah.
And so they're both in Supreme Command detachments.
Yeah.
Mortarion's actually in a Nurgle Supreme Command detachment, so I get access to these Poxbringers.
Right, so you got 3 Poxbringers.
Yeah.
And
Big Bad Morty.
good old Mortarion. Now, just so everybody's clear, every single one of them has a card. Really cool to keep track of what they do. Their weapon, their statistics, and then how many powers they can cast and how many powers they can deny. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It just keeps it really simple, as well as the powers that they have and the relics and weapons and things like that, which makes it super simple to keep track in the middle of a game.
Yeah, big time saver.
And they look like magic cards, and they're awesome. It looks really cool. And then you have a second Supreme Command detachment.
Yes, for Thousand Suns. So this way we have Aramin in there. We have a sorcerer who I call Axetal, a demon prince called Corvus Belton, and then of course the big bad Magnus the Red.
Of course, because that's already his name. Did he do anything wrong?
Oh, he did nothing wrong. Absolutely. He did nothing wrong. He was just trying to do the right thing.
Then you have a battalion of Death Guard.
Yes, and in that we have Typhus. We have another Nurgle or Death Guard sorcerer called Poxpuddler.
Poxpuddler.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We've got 2 units of cultists and then 1 unit of Poxwalkers.
Cool. I just want to say this name, Bile Gurgler, and Gurgle Snork, and Hork Snatcher.
Yes.
They're great names.
Well, if you're making... Yes, and so altogether that is 2,000 points.
2,000 points of
Lots of
chaos. Chaos. Leave your predictions down below. But that's a lot of characters. That's really cool, actually.
That is a ton.
Okay, let's move on to the Drukhari. Here we have 2,000 points of Drukhari before the FAQ, if the FAQ changes anything. Okay, that's an important caveat. So we have a Black Heart Spearhead with Archon Skari himself with a Husk Blade this time. Supported by 3 Disintegrator Ravagers and a Venom with 1 Splinter Cannon. And 2 Razor Wings with Disintegrator Cannons and Twin Splinter Rifles and their missiles. Then we have a Coven Battalion with Urien Rakath at the helm, a Homunculus with an Electrocorrosive Whip and a Stinger Pistol. 2 squads of 10 Racks with Ossifactors, and all 3 units of Racks, I have a 5-man squad, have a Venom Blade on the Akathist. Then we have 6 Grotesques. They want to hug people. And 2 units of 3 Talos, Chain Flail, Macro Scalpel, and Twin Haywire Blaster on all of them. And that is 2,000 points on the nose. What's my plan? To play the game 1 turn at a time and kill Magnus because he did everything wrong. Okay, on to the mission, deployment, and table. We start with deployment. Now, this is the most important part of the game, and we both went back and forth, essentially screening our most important units and keeping the stuff that needed to do damage at the back. Magnus and Morty were very aggressive because it is table quarters, which means the distance between the armies was relatively shorter than normal. We are deployed, and we're playing table quarters. Or whatever it's called in the new edition.
Yeah.
So, I picked table quarters, and Davis started deploying first, so I picked this corner, and he gets this corner. So he's deployed cultists, poxwalkers, sort of around the back. Yeah, he's got Smash Bros, Magnus Morty. He's got his Warlord guy. He's got 1 Nurgle guy there. He's got 1 Siege guy there. He's got Typhus in the middle. He's got another Nurgle guy there. And another Nurgle guy there.
And more Nurgle guys.
And where's Arman? Arman's back here.
Yeah,
too.
Arman's back
he
there,
is. Look
yeah.
at him. Look at him, he's excited. He's so happy to be alive.
For now.
For now. We're playing ITC, so Urien Rakath gets Diabolical Soothsayer, so he gave me 1 command point, but he gets a free reroll this game. Racks in a Venom, 10 Racks with an Ossifactor, 10 Racks with an Ossifactor, all 3 Ravagers in the back, and the 2 Razor Wings cozying up to each other. He has... Oh, and then Vexeter Mask in the middle, surrounded by Talos, Grotesques, etc. So that is the general deployment. Now, as for secondaries, Davis has marked for death my 3 Ravagers over there in the back, and he's also marked for death this Razorwing right here. So that Razorwing is marked for death. And he has also got Big Game Hunter, so he gets 1 point essentially for each Tailor he kills and the other Ravager, because they can't stack. And he has gone for Old School, so killing something for a strike, Warlord, Linebreaker, etc. I've picked Headhunter, because he has 1 million characters. I picked Titan Slayer, because he has 2 Titans, which means I can get points off of them. And I also went for Recon, because I'm feeling lucky. Just kidding. Okay, so Davis does get the roll to go first. And by roll, I mean he gets the +1.
Yeah.
Don't fail me now, yes, dice. Oh, he's rolling a... Ooh, you rolled a Romanian dice. He got a 5. Yes! No! That was a draw! Well, that's better than not a draw.
Yeah. All right, you know what? I'm up.
Oh, you're going to roll a Canadian dice.
dice.
Oh, no. I am... Yes!
Oh, let's be
Come
very
on,
nice
Scottish
to
dice! Yes! No!
All right.
Rats. Okay.
But now where it really
I would
counts.
like to seize. Okay. I would like to seize. The yes dice says... No, again! And with that, it is first
Game
turn.
over.
Yeah, that's it. I tap.
No.
And now we move on to turn 1 for Chaos. We start with Chaos, turn 1. This turn was essentially simple. Throwing Mortarion right at the Drukhari lines. I also got surprised by a very long range Vortex of Doom that hit my clumped up units. That surprised me for sure. Turn 1. Davis, why don't you tell us what happened in your turn?
So I went off with an Infernal Gateway Bomb.
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much Magnus was
Right over
combining
here.
the powers of the warp,
Right.
and I was able to say, hey, you got some guys nicely grouped together. I went off on maximum power and hit a bunch of folks.
Yeah, it hit, like, one of the grotesques was really close, and you just hit everything. I was like, oh, you hit both units of Talos, Urian, sorry, not Urian, Homunculus. Luckily, the Homunculus survived with some good field of pains. And then you charged Morty in.
Yeah, and Morty was extra stinky.
Yeah, his mortal wound bomb hit everybody within 7. He didn't
Everyone
fail
that was
one.
within 7 got hit.
Oh
by
my
it.
goodness! And then you attacked, and the Nurglings attacked, and you killed everybody except for one grotesque. He's alive with 4 wounds.
See, even you have a hard time remembering the name.
And one Talos died too because of all the mortal wounds. 2 from that.
He almost exploded
too.
too.
Yeah, the Talos. I had to burn a reroll to stop him from exploding. But Morty did take some wounds because I Vexitamased him.
Yeah.
And then the grotesques put 6 wounds on him so far.
They have currently put 6 wounds on him. Yeah,
so he's up 12. And he failed the -1 to hit power.
That is
But
correct.
he does have blades on him right now.
That is correct.
Okay, so we're moving on.
And an important thing on Blades for everyone, remember it on your Nurglings.
Yeah, that's cool, actually, because it affects the whole model. So
That's
the
right.
Nurglings are wounding on 5s, which was awesome. They helped kill a grotesque. So now, you didn't kill anything, which is no old school. You close.
Very
and but you do hold objectives. So now we're moving on to turn 2. Oh, 1.
Turn 1.
1 for the Drukhari. Let's see what Archon Skari and Urian Rakath cook up for this one. Dark Eldar, turn 1. Essentially, I had 1 turn to deal with Mortarion. So, my focus this round was to get on objectives to gain bonus points and get ahead in the point game, while doing as much as I could to just simply stop Mortarion from being able to run rampart around my lines. I kept very conservative in terms of movement and just focused everything I could on killing that big baddie.
Sure thing.
Okay, so Drukhari turn 1. I essentially had to deal with Morty. You have to. He's in your face. So my whole army was designed to go and kill Morty. I basically moved up. I basically left no room for Magnus to kind of double jump back here. He's going to have to, basically fly in with a charge. Or he can't actually fit his base and not engage a bunch of stuff, which is kind of what I want. I did sacrifice this unit of racks. They moved, ran, and then fire and faded to get to that objective. This venom advanced this way to get that objective. This grotesque fell back from combat to get that objective, and they moved and ran to get that objective over there. So I get bonus, I get hold more, I get 4 points for Kingslayer. Actually, that was a recant. They don't have Titanic keywords, so I can't get Titan Killer. I had to go for Kingslayer, and I picked Morty because Morty usually has to get in your face. So so I got 4 for that. I don't get a Headhunter point because you can't double up on stuff. And then I got all 5 points. So moving on to turn 2, Magnus is still up and running. He's still at all his characters, and I have taken a beating in terms of my heavy hitters because of the mortal wounds. So let's see if I can withstand the war of attrition here as the game moves on to turn 2.
Turn 2 for Chaos. With Mortarion gone, Davis played quite conservatively. He moved back and conserved his strength, and then focused on the units and the elements of my army that I had exposed. This allowed him to essentially gain zone control and board control towards that side of the board, forcing my slower moving units to move towards him later.
Okay, turn 2. We are here. The Racks have died. The Venom died, but I knew that was going to happen. And these Racks are alive. Okay, so Magnus failed that charge. He warp timed himself all the way on this side of the board instead of sacrificing himself dearly. He knows he's going to need to stay alive for the end of the game. Mm-hmm. So Davis did get kill 1. He did get hold 1. And that was it so far, and he killed 2 units. And all his characters came in, lots of smites essentially just killed that entire unit. So now we're moving on to Drukhari. Turn 2. What shall I do? Leave a comment down below. What do you think I should do at this point? Not that it's going to matter, because the game will have already happened. But it's cool to see if you're on the same page as me as I play the game.
So, this was my second turn. I had a very simple plan. I essentially needed to kill as many of his screening units as possible. Why? Because I knew that the characters were going to be unable to hide if he had no screens. So I spent most of my shooting essentially wiping out cultists, poxwalkers, and I did get a character.
Turn 2. So I moved up the army, essentially just kind of kept in a bubble. And I moved my racks to kind of screen from smites and stuff. I kept him to screen from like smite as well. I was able to kill both units of cultists with Razor Wing and Disintegrated Fire, and then there was one character that was closer to my Ravagers, so one Ravager took him out, which was the Death Guard Sorcerer.
That's correct.
Pox
Puddler.
Pox Puddler. He's dead. He's now a puddle. He is now a puddle.
That commonly happens.
Yeah. He did sacrifice himself, flew up, and basically he shot at the Poxwalkers here. How many Poxwalkers are left?
There are currently 7 Poxwalkers left.
So I killed 10 Poxwalkers with sporadic firepower, basically trying to get rid of his screen, because then all he has is essentially characters and Magnus, which is also a character. So we're moving on to turn 3. I got another 4 points plus a recon plus a headhunter. So currently we're sitting at 9 and 16 to 3 points. So let's see what happens as we move into the third turn.
Okay, so in this turn, I feel Chaos, Davis felt a little bit on the back foot. He played very conservatively this game, essentially focused on the Razorwing that was in his lines, and got away from all my shooting. He knew that he had to try and get points wherever he could to then make a comeback later in the game.
Turn 3 for the Chaos Demons. And Thousand Suns. So, these guys are pretty much safe from smites and from charges because they're in a ruin, and Magnus, it can't get to them. Everything else basically targeted my flyer. It's dead now, but it exploded, and it killed a Nurgle Herald, and did a lot of wounds.
A lot of more wounds around there.
Because they all got really aggressive. Magnus has taken a wound from a Perils.
Yeah.
All right. And then he cast 3 powers and then tried to get the stratagem to cast a 4th power. And Vex said no, because he wanted to warp time back to stop all my Ravagers from taking pot shots at him.
That's right. And I do just want to point out that the powers of the warp are very fickle indeed.
Oh, that's right. You perils your Nurgle Herald, re-rolled. He rolled
Into
a 1
perils.
again, so he perils. He took 3 wounds,
Yeah.
so he had 1 wound left. That's the guy that died from the explosion.
Yeah.
Then Typhus perilled on a double 1s and failed, and then perils on a double 6s
Yeah.
and took 4 wounds or something like that.
Yeah, so he's down to 2.
He has 2 wounds left. Like, the warp was not friendly this turn. And then the Infernal Gateway, so he smited my Grotesque off the map with a 2d6 smite. And then the Infernal Gateway did 2 wounds to the plane, 1 wound to the Talos, and 1 wound to the Rex. And that was it. So you did kill another... You got 1 Big Game Hunter point. You had actually gotten 1 Big Game Hunter from killing a Talos.
Yeah.
And I do get another Headhunter point since he died. Okay. And now we're moving on to the bottom of turn 3, and you've killed the plane and the Grotesque. You've killed 2 things, but I have to kill your Poxwalkers to really get to your characters at all here. So let's see what the Drukhari can do. Or maybe I'll just shoot Magnus this turn, see what happens. Magnus, right? Yeah.
It was my turn. I had successfully stopped Magnus from fleeing. I had 1 opportunity to shoot at Magnus. So I moved up aggressively, got a range of Magnus, and essentially had 1 turn to deal with him like I had tried to deal with Mortarion. That's how you want to run against Primarchs. You need to hit them hard, and eliminate the threat. And this was the turn that I was using for that task.
Failed 1 save.
I know. Okay.
Or 2, I guess.
So this is turn 3. Everything here shot at Magnus and did 3 wounds.
2.
He failed 2 saves.
He failed 2 saves.
That's ridiculous. That's awesome. He rolled like a champ. It was great. Then the Rax did Black Cornucopians up. They killed 2 of the Poxwalkers and then failed their charge against the Warlord. I was trying to just gang on him, but that was not going to happen this turn. So he did get kill more and kill and hold 1. I got hold more and hold 1 and another recon point. So that would be my 3rd recon point. And we're moving on to turn 4. But Magnus surviving is a big deal. I didn't even get him to half wounds. That's a very big deal. Okay, so let's see what happens after the 4th.
Since my Rax had been left unsupported, Davis found the perfect time to essentially make screens again. He had a few Poxwalkers. He made them essentially gain models as the models died, and targeted that rack unit, killed it completely, essentially creating a new screen to keep his smites and characters safe.
Okay, so turn 4 for the 1,000 Suns. So Magnus is now beefed to the 9s, invul save, everything. He even got healed, so he's completely fine, which is great. He did 3 wounds with mortals and stuff.
Yeah.
Did pretty terrible in that sense.
Yeah.
But now this can only move half.
That's
so
right.
it can only move 30 inches right now. Okay, so it's slow. He then killed all my guys and added 10 Poxwalkers to...
I think I added even more than 10. Oh no, I
only
couldn't
had
have added 10. I added 10.
I only had 10 models. So he used the stratagem to bring them back for infantry, and then he just murdered them. So
And I could do it just because no reinforcement points there because the unit was already under full strength.
Exactly. So now he's got, and they're beefed up. Typhus made them hard to hit, and they have toughness 5 right now. So they're a little beefier than they were. And then this guy perils, but didn't take any wounds. But he perils. So with that, he did kill 1 thing, and he holds 1 objective. And that's it for now. Okay, so moving on to turn 4 for the Drukhari. Let's see what happens after this.
So, it was back to the drawing board for me. I had to kill the Poxwalkers again. So, pretty much all of my shooting and everything that I could have done focused on killing the Poxwalkers. The characters themselves had been damaging themselves with things like Perils of the Warp and tanks exploding and whatnot. So I needed to kill those Poxwalkers because that is what would let me solidify the game later in the game. The last couple of turns I could shoot anything I wanted to.
Okay, so I don't think I got recon either because they decided to stay out. Okay, so I didn't get recon, but everything that could shot at the Poxwalkers, and I killed all the Poxwalkers.
With the last shot.
With the last shot, which was from one haywire blaster, which was great. So I did get kill one, and I hold one, and I hold more, and nobody got kill more. So, and I didn't get my last recon here, or another headhunter, because I failed the charge with the Talos. I did have to put them in a very compromised situation, but now he has to deal with them or they'll eat all his characters. So I'm pretty sure those two Talos are going to die. I did spend a command point to heal this Talos 3, so he had 5, he's got 2 left. And other than that, we're moving on to turn 5. There's only 2 more turns.
That's it.
Turn 5, turn 6, that's it. So moving on to turn 5.
So it's Chaos turn 5. The Poxwalkers are dead. Time to get aggressive. So this is where Davis started committing to take out the parts of my army that could do the most harm, especially to Magnus. And now is where he committed forward and just put the pressure right in my lines to crack.
Turn 5 for the Thousand Suns. He basically advanced everything, killed the flyer that was in the corner, and then charged into the Talos, killed one Talos with Magnus, and one Talos has taken 6 wounds.
Yep.
He was just out of my my mask range. He has only the 3-up invul, no -1 to hit, because the -1 to hit power failed. However, Typhus perils
Yep.
again, and then he tried to re-roll the perils, essentially, and then I vectored you, and then he blew up, and he did wounds to pretty much all the psychers nearby, which was nasty. So then they charged in. They did kill the 2 Talos, though, because he went to town on them with his malefic talons. And I put 4 wounds on Magnus with my Talos. But it's turn 5, 5 and 6. He won't be able to table me because I've got 3 racks back there, essentially. So I'm safe from the tabling. So it's just a matter of trying to get as many points as I can. Since Magnus is right in front of me, I'm probably going to try and heal up a Talos and then attack him again. I'm using chain flails because I have to reroll wounds, but now Urian's going to be there, so there'll be strength 7 chain flails, and then run in with Urian, mask him, and then use these 2 Ravagers essentially to move around and try and take pot shots at his characters over here, because Magnus right now is the closest. So I'm going to try and stop that, essentially. Okay, so moving on to turn 5.
This turn I made a big mistake. I ran my Vexeter Mask Homunculus into Magnus and he died. Other than that, I essentially focused my Ravagers and fire. Because Magnus also acts as a screen because he has more than 10 wounds, it means as long as he was in combat I couldn't shoot at anything else. I had to keep him in combat. I had to maneuver aggressively to get at the other characters.
Okay, I didn't kill much. He survived and he passed all his saves from the 2 Ravagers. And then Urian failed to charge. And then I did 5 wounds on Magnus and he smacked my Vexeter Mask to death. Probably shouldn't have charged him in. But in retrospect, it kept the Talos alive for another turn. Well, unless he smites them to death or something. So I did get hold more and he got kill more. So we're moving on to the 6th turn, end of the game after 6, and then we'll count up the points. Let's see. My Warlord's back here. He's got Linebreaker. He has to try and kill some of the Ravagers to get extra points, and slay the Warlord, which is back there if he wants to try and get that point as well. Okay, moving on to the final turn for the Thousand Suns.
So this is a full game turn 6. In this last game turn, both of us essentially calculated points, tried to squeeze as much as we could. Linebreaker got taken on. In my turn, I focused everything I could on Magnus. I even charged Skari himself to fight Magnus one-on-one in brutal hand-to-hand combat.
So, turn 6 total recap. So, Magnus finished off all the Talos. They did kill Urien with some smites. This guy tried to kill this Ravager, but he failed. He's got 2 wounds left. And he charged into that Ravager and failed to wound it.
He did a bit of damage, not much.
He did 4 points of damage, so failed to kill that. So, we tallied up the points at the end of Davis's turn 6, and it's 18 points to like 26 points or something. So just for some fun, I moved, instead of just trying to max my stuff, I got 1 more recon point, and then I shot everything I could at Magnus for the grudge, and I was able to bring him down to 2 wounds remaining, where Archon Skari charged in with his Husk Blade. There you go, he's still alive. It's the epic fight here, and that's a good picture actually. And Archon Skari passed all his Shadowfield saves.
Yeah.
But Magnus, he had to take 1 save against the Huskblade, failed it, and used a reroll to stay alive.
I think the first time a reroll this game worked for me on that one.
So I was unable to kill Magnus, so he did nothing wrong. He stands by his
That's
words.
right, we did say that. We said, actually at the start, sorry, I shouldn't be too loud right now, a little bit later. We said, if Magnus lives at the end, he did nothing wrong.
He did nothing wrong. So I still have these guys left alive. Armand, I only got 3 points for Headhunter because I didn't kill the last points. But to that, it is a victory for the Drukhari. And we will return with an after-action report. Thanks a lot for the game, Davis.
Much appreciated.
It was really, really fun. Stay tuned for the post-game recap. And that's game.
That's game.
That's game. Thanks a lot for coming down, Davis.
Oh no, thank you.
That
You
was
were actually the one
fantastic.
I would say that came
I
up.
traveled a little bit here
Yeah.
at the Basement Collective
That's right.
bunker. So, the game seems like not everything went your way.
No, but you know what? That's fine. You know, units did what they pretty much are meant to do. There are times where, you know, you're going to have a unit and it dies really quickly or something like that, or you get 4 perils in a row. And, you know, there's 3 ways you can do. You can either let it get you down, or you can take it in stride, realize these things do happen, try to mitigate that damage.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you can be a smart player and don't group all your characters together all the time.
So then when one explodes, they all
So that
die.
doesn't happen. But yeah, you know, but it was a great game.
Yeah, it was really, really, like, it was intense. You know, when you're playing against Smash Brothers,
Yeah.
you have to be able to deal with a Primarch in 1 turn.
Sometimes, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
And you have to have
The turn they get in.
Yeah, and so my list usually does that, but that turn that I did nothing to Magnus, I got a little worried.
Yeah,
He passed like every save.
every single one.
I was like, it was at least 20 saves, and they were mostly invulnerables.
It was, yeah, it was somewhere, it
It was-
was north of a dozen.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Pretty north of a dozen.
It was like all the disintegrated. I
Yeah.
was nuts.
And it was just,
I was terrified.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, whoa, wait a second. Can I get tabled? Let me double check everything. I know I'm ahead on points, but, and so it was good to put you on your toes on that. I was happy.
It was good. Yeah, I think the TSN turning point was not being able to deal with Magnus when I could have, because he didn't have any of the bonuses on.
No, he had no bonuses.
nothing
You had stopped him
whatsoever.
from backing away for that turn.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, you got him in your sights.
Yeah, like I vected the warp time, so like you couldn't use an extra power, so he wasn't able to get back, and I had him, and then nothing happened, and it was very weird. Weird. But it's kind of cool when your big monster like just survives everything, and
Yeah.
he lived till the end of the game.
He lived, so he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he even faced Skari in hand-to-hand
That's right.
combat and still
Didn't kill him.
survived. Yeah.
Next turn.
Next-
Turn 7.
Next turn 7. It just also shows the value of getting those bonus points early on and not being afraid to sacrifice stuff to get like points that'll get you up on the board and force your opponent to deal with them, which is what I did with the Rax, like, and the Venom, and I forced you to kind of deal with them, and that gave me that crucial 1 turn extra points where you got 1 point and I got 5 points, and that was a
Yeah,
big
2 turns of that in a row was a big help.
Yeah.
After that, started to
Then
kind
it
of even up.
Yeah, and then it was 3 and 3
Yeah.
or 2 and 2.
And so that by the end of the game was like, yeah, you're ahead by about 8 points.
Which is what
Not
I got on
crazy.
the first 2 turns. Like, if I would have played very conservatively and not gambled in those first 2 turns, it would have been a lot closer
A
again.
lot closer for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, Davis, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Pleasure again.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you watch for your army when you're playing against this young man, so he doesn't toss it on the ground.
Get so mad.
Thanks a lot, Blackie, for the shirt. It's fantastic. We used the Scottish dice. They were great.
They worked great. Wow.
They rolled lots of
I think
sixes.
you got how many command points back this game?
I like it. Almost as good as the Canada dice. Other than that, make sure you check the links down below. A huge shout out goes out to all the Patreons to the channel. You guys make this possible. If you'd like to support the channel, check the link down below for exclusive tactical content, videos, the Discord chat, and all that good stuff that the denizens of the Dark City get access to. After all, I'm Skari, your grateful host.
Davis, thank you guys for coming in tonight.
Skari, out.